Hi, I'm Scott Ferguson with Light Reading, and today we're talking with Kannan Kodan-Raman. He is the Vice President of Product Management for Routing at Juniper. Kannan, thank you very much for joining us. Juniper is really known as an innovative company. Can you talk to us a little bit about what innovations you're seeing coming out of the company that's kind of getting you excited?
Sure. Juniper was founded on the basis of innovation and disruption for performance and scale. As networks evolve towards high agility in terms of service delivery, performance and scale alone is not sufficient for innovation and disruption. What is required is simplification of how services are delivered. Juniper's innovation is now focused on reducing complexity in networking. We are doing that with a wide variety of disruptive approaches, primarily centered around automation. We are also automating not just from a software point of view, but also from an overall network operations point of view. Key elements of that include new routing protocols that we are coming to the market with. We are also introducing very disruptive approaches for how even hardware is developed using concepts such as universal chassis.
The automation is interesting. Can you tell us a little bit about controller technologies, how they work? I know you call them bots, but how do they exactly work, and what's the end goal of that?
To deliver next-gen services requires automation. Without automation, networks will continue to become even more complex than what they are today, and with complexity increases the number of errors in the network, and flexibility is not going to be available. We started out in the data center. Juniper released our first SDN controller focused around automation within data center networking. This is Contrail, and it's been one of the most widely adopted SDN controllers in the industry. What we are doing next is leverage the high scale that Contrail can enable within wide area networks, as well as bring in network visibility using several of the tools that we are developing internally. The focus area for us is wide area visibility using a controller called Northstar that will provide end-to-end fine-grained visibility into network services, and take the next approach with automation of services. Automation in terms of how wide area networks are built, how services are developed, with a very clear view that telemetry and analytics are going to be key components in enabling this. We have bots which will automate complex configurations for peering, complex configurations for network slicing, and our controllers are all focused on automating various network tasks to reduce complexity in the network.
And you just mentioned something about slicing, and I know Juniper has something called node slicing technology. Can you explain a little bit about that, and again, where you're seeing customers kind of picking that up?
Previous generation of services were delivered using siloed networks. Every service had its own instantiation of a network, which led to complexity and high costs. Next generation of services will need to be virtualized. Purpose-built networks will not be able to scale to deliver services such as 5G and IoT. Virtualization is going to be a key requirement for delivering services both cost effectively and with a high degree of service assurance. Node slicing is the first technology that will enable virtualization to bring in multiple services onto one common converged network. The notion of control plane and user plane separation, which is going to be critical to deliver high capacity 5G services, that is the technology that Juniper has come to market with. We are not waiting for 5G to roll this out. We've started to see converged edge networks where multiple siloed networks are already being converged into one single network, and that is going to be the basis for next generation 5G networks as well. What node slicing allows us to do is build one purpose-built network that can be used for multiple types of services with automation, telemetry, and analytics attached to it.
One area of interest is advanced protocols. Why is Juniper investing in this?
New networks and new services will require a very high degree of flexibility for the network to enable new business practices and new services. If we look at what's happened previously, business practices had to conform to static network protocols, or new protocols required a completely new greenfield approach. Juniper's objective is to enable flexibility in the network, automation in the network, while providing a seamless migration path towards building next-gen networks.
So explain to us, what exactly are advanced protocols?
Juniper's objective is to innovate across data center, metro, and wide area networks. Technologies such as EVPN, segment routing enable our customers to have a business first approach rather than a technology first approach, and the technology will allow us to migrate from current siloed approaches to new networks that need to be flexible, automated, and agile.
Can you tell me more about universal chassis?
Sure. As we discussed before, silos create complexity and increase cost. The goal of universal chassis is to provide one common building block across data center, edge, and core networks. The differentiation and the functionality is based on software rather than purpose-built hardware. And that is going to be key for technologies and requirements such as network slicing, 5G networks, and next generation of network build-outs.
Ken, thank you very much.
Thank you, Scott.